So I think more than a need, it's an opportunity today.
Hmm.
And if you really feel like, yes, what you are working on needs a greater audience to get where it needs to, then this definitely is something that you need to do. I've worked with clients where, maybe they were looking for investment.
Hmm.
And the only difference between them getting investment and not was us coming into the picture and branding them as good people and not just smart, capable people. जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, and that does not just restrict itself to products. It also extends to human beings. And if you are not talking about what you are good at or how you are as a person, someone else is. And
Hmm.
if there's one job, the person who's talking about themselves is going to get it.
Why is it becoming more important these days to do personal branding, and why people should consider doing personal branding?
So initially, the only people who could be famous are actors, politicians, and maybe sports celebrities to an
Hmm.
extent.
Hmm.
But today, it's way more democratized. Who can
Right.
be famous? It can be some villager who rides a truck every day and is recording his journey as a truck driver across the country. It can be someone who is fighting for, against climate crisis. It can be anyone who has a voice, as long as they're doing it right, as long as they're authentic and reaching their audience. So I think more than a need, it's an opportunity today.
Hmm.
And if you really feel like, yes, what you are working on needs a greater audience to get where it needs to, then this definitely is something that you need to do. Of course, the moment women, men, kids, everyone is opportunistic today, because we do want to earn more, we want to be more, we want to reach that level of self actualization on Maslow's hierarchy as soon as possible. And with all of these things, it really does help to say, yes, I'm good at this job, but
Hmm.
hey, this is also me. And show up not just because you have a greater score or a higher salary or a better rank, but also because you're a better person. And I think just being a better person for the job, being a better person to sit and chat with, that makes a lot of difference when it comes to human beings, because we are social creatures. And that's where personal branding has become so important. I've worked with clients where, maybe they were looking for investment.
Hmm.
And the only difference between them getting investment and not was us coming into the picture and branding them as good people and not just smart, capable people.
Nice.
And I
Interesting.
think that's where the opportunity lies, and everyone needs to, like, join the bandwagon. This is one thing that you need to do.
So you spoke about a thing, being famous, right? But is it really about being famous or voicing your opinion and your thoughts? Like those two may not align also sometimes, right? I may just do it because I believe that with my voice or what experiences I have, maybe 5 people or 10 people will benefit from it. I'm not doing it with an intention to being famous. Is famous the criteria or the end objective that you can become famous with personal branding, or is it much more than that?
So with personal branding, it the best part is that it's not like being a celebrity. When you're a
Hmm.
celebrity, every part of your life comes under the radar.
Right.
What are you wearing? What are you doing? Who are you going out with? What kind of work are you doing? What kind of like charity work are you doing, etc. So you don't have a control over who you are. And of course, fame comes with its perks like money and power. However, it can also be very restrictive. How I look at personal branding is writing my own story, writing my own book, an autobiography, but keeping the parts out that I don't want to talk about. For
Hmm.
example, when Harry Potter was written, we don't know so much about Harry's or Hermione's or Ron's sexual awakenings,
Yeah.
for example. But
Yeah.
that's a part that J.K. Rowling decided to not talk about because the book was about magic.
Yeah.
In the same way, if you see the kind of personal branding that I do for myself, I talk about a lot of things that I care about. But at this stage of life, there are also things that I don't talk about, like my
Hmm.
sexuality or my political ideas or my
Affiliations.
religious
Yeah.
ideas. Of course, I have those, right? Like, as an opinionated modern woman, I have these opinions, but I don't feel like I need to share them with the world right now or ever. And I think that's where fame and personal branding differ a little bit. But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, it does come down to the fact that you need to do it so that people get to know about you. Now, this can be a large audience based on the kind of product or service that you're offering. So, say if it's a podcast, Anis, for you, the more audience you have, the better.
Yeah.
However, for me, for example, whenever whenever like I see that my personal branding is doing good is when I get a new client
Hmm.
or an investor reaches out just to see if I'm like looking for investment, or someone reaches out to me for a podcast like
Hmm.
your team did. So
Hmm.
for me those things matter, because at the end of the day my personal branding needs to fulfill one criteria: that is my company getting clients out of it. That's my key objective right now. Of course there are secondary objectives, but as long as this is being taken care of, I know I'm personal branding myself successfully. And everything else that comes around it is a byproduct. So, of course, fame is not important, but it completely depends on the objective of the person.
What do you define as personal branding? Let's start with that. Like, what in this DNA age where there's so much of technology जो आज हम कर रहे हैं, right, as an example, is that personal branding? So what is personal branding for you?
So I think so. I have a marketing degree for my undergraduation. I have a marketing degree for my post graduation, and nobody ever used these two words together: personal branding. And I'm not that old, right? So my degrees are not very old. But when I started with my brand consulting firm, I, of course, was young. My portfolio was small, and at some point, it was difficult to get clients on board. It was also during the pandemic, so you can imagine, like, it was already an economic crunch nationwide. So, what I started doing is I started writing on LinkedIn, and without knowing, in a very organic way, I was personal branding myself.
Hmm.
And because I was not doing it strategically and just like writing out things that mattered to me, getting on podcasts talking about my struggles, my successes, etc., it happened in a very beautiful way. But how I today understand personal branding as a professional is that जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, and that does not just restrict itself to products. It also extends to human beings. And if you are not talking about what you are good at or how you are as a person, someone else is. And if
Hmm.
there's one job, the person who's talking about themselves is going to get it.
Hmm. That's an interesting piece what you just said, that verb, the जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. In fact, I was having a conversation with somebody just 2 days ago, and he said जो ज्यादा दिखता है वो बिकता है, जो दिखता है वो बिकता नहीं है, जो ज्यादा दिखता है वो बिकता है, right? So, and that's what Haldiram is being using in India, by the way. That's his selling point, the Haldiram company, right? जो ज्यादा दिखता है वो बिकता है.